Hello, I'm Peter from Whatculture.com, and wasn't Spider-Man Homecoming a really good movie? It was Tom Holland's first solo outing, we saw the Vulture, he was cool, a little bit of Tony Stark and Iron Man, it was all round a really nice piece, but it's caused a little bit of confusion on where exactly it fits in with the MCU timeline. But don't worry, it's actually really simple. We start with the aftermath of Avengers, and then we're told 8 years later, Tom Holland as Peter Parker, as Spider-Man, is running around doing a little vlog, and that's Civil War, right? 8 years later. The rest of the film seems to take place pretty much around the same kind of time. He's not aged that much, so therefore it seems that Spider-Man Homecoming is taking place 8 years roughly after Avengers, which puts it in approximately 2020? Finally, as a last little bit of evidence to back it all up, in Iron Man 2 we saw a little boy nearly get horribly killed, and retroactively Marvel decided, hey, let's make that Peter Parker. And if you do all the maths and work out how old that kid would actually be now, it looks like he's the right age to be Peter Parker, so it's 2020. Simple. 2020.
Well, yes, but no, also not at all. Now, Marvel have tended to play very fast and loose with their dates in films, but there are a few moments that they have repeatedly set in stone. Now, that's not a problem, it's a good idea for them to do that, but the problem is that that means that not one of these allows Spider-Man Homecoming to be set in 2020. I will do my best to explain thusly. Now, at the very forefront of this is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which Marvel have said repeatedly takes place in real time. Now, there are two major things that happen in this. The first of all is Gemma Simmons. She explicitly states at one point in the show that it's 2015. Then, when the concept of Sky's age comes up, it puts the show between 2014 and 2015. Now, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. repeatedly leads in to both The Winter Soldier and Age of Ultron, which puts these events themselves respectively in 2014 and 2015. We know they're there. That's where they are. Now, the events of Age of Ultron lead us directly into Civil War, and in Civil War, Helmut Zemo specifically says that he's been plotting his revenge for just over a year, which puts us in 2016. That puts Civil War in 2016, again around the time of release, which means Spider-Man's debut in the MCU is in 2016. Now, cast your mind back to the start of Homecoming. It specifically says it takes place 2 months after Civil War, specifically September, when homecomings and proms usually happen. That is September 2016, not 2020. There's more, like Marvel even launched the WHIH news channel thing to try and give a sense of real-time developments to the events that were happening in the story. And if they do anything, it's they cement it in real time again. That news channel has cropped up all over the place in Marvel film and television properties. It's been in Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Hulk, Iron Man, it's everywhere, and it keeps cementing these events around the time of the release of the films and TV shows. For all the little tiny evented documents, the two major ones to pay attention to are, of course, the event in Lagos at the start of Civil War and Ant-Man. Now, it grounds Ant-Man in 2015, and of course in that film, it's where we got our first reference to Spider-Man. Yes, I know he says guy who crawls on walls, but throw me a f***ing bone here. And, of course, on top of that, it grounds Civil War again in 2016, where we hear Peter Parker say he has had his powers for about 6 months. Marvel has gone to lengths to set things up in real time, and Civil War, however you want to trace it back, takes place in 2016. Spider-Man Homecoming, by its own admission, takes place 2 months after that. Not 4 years in the f***ing future.
So how on earth did it get so messed up? Well, clearly Marvel have been dead keen for a teenage Spider-Man for a while, and they made him a sophomore in high school. Now, if they want him to be a junior or a senior, then that could be the case if they want to do a trilogy of films or even just 2 films of him being at high school, but that would mean that they willfully messed up their own timeline. So why is that? Well, the first reason is that maybe they just didn't realize what they were doing. When they made him the little boy in Iron Man 2, it was actually Tom Holland who let that slip. He wasn't meant to say it, and perhaps they just didn't know what they were doing to their already quite convoluted universe. Secondly, maybe dates and times just don't really matter. They're just small, insignificant things that happen in this universe to sort of lightly tie it together. They're already tied together in terms of Easter eggs and rough placement in terms of what happens before when and after when, but maybe the actual specific dates just aren't that important at all. And lastly, it could be that actually this Peter Parker appearing in Iron Man 2 thing, where he's a child, is actually really, really important going forward. Maybe it plays a vital part of Tony and Peter's dynamic. Maybe there's going to be a flashback of some kind. And maybe it could all just be because Doctor Strange is doing something weird, or actually that moving the timeline forwards a little bit just helps everything make sense a bit more going forwards, given how much stuff is about to happen. It allows Infinity War and Thor Ragnarok to happen at roughly the same time. It allows Peter to remain in high school going forwards, because otherwise, if it all keeps happening in real time, Peter will have graduated by the time that they get to the next one, and it doesn't make sense. It's all just... But what do you think? Do you think it's totally, absolutely bloody f***ed? Adam Cleary certainly seems to think so, but what do you think? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Does this completely ruin everything? Possibly. I don't care anymore. I'm tired. I'm Ben from Whatculture. That was Adam Cleary and Peter Austin from Whatculture, and thanks for watching.